Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna give just a minute to catch on, just make sure I have all my things together, and give everybody a minute to kind of pop on, and when I see a few people start coming on, I'll start explaining this cutie patootie little marshmallow cup we're gonna be making. So let me just make sure I have all my stuff. Okay, so I see a couple people have popped on. So how's everybody doing? Happy Friday. So today we're going to be going over the starting of making this cup. Hey Kimberly. So I put a list of a couple things that we were going to use. And I'm a very spur of the moment kind of person. I wanted to do a demo cup myself because I haven't done the drips before. Good morning. So I did this yesterday because I wanted to make sure I had the accurate information for you guys. So I did add a couple things. It's very minimal, but I'll go over what I added, and the things that I did add are totally optional. So today, like I said, we're just going to add the glitter and the face. So I have the face printed out right here, and I tried cling wrap for the first time. I've seen a lot of people kind of rave about it, and I'm going to be applying some of this shimmer acrylic to my cup, and I don't want it to peel off when I take off the transfer paper, so I figured I would try it, and it works awesome for it. It's a little more tricky to get the decal off of the transfer paper than normal, just because the adhesive isn't as strong, but you definitely don't have to worry about the layers you have on your cup peeling off. So let me get my other part of my epoxy, and I'll stir it while we're talking. So I'm going to be applying the glitter epoxy method. You could try Mod Podge if you have never done the epoxy method, or if you like it better. I would maybe try the epoxy method if you haven't. It's super simple. I get worried because I'm not doing the whole cup in the Mod Podge, so if you do just this area, there's a chance you could kind of see underneath when you epoxy it. Do they? Does anybody else have an issue with them pausing? So it's cling wrap. Let me see. Hang on. I got the box. Let me grab it. This stuff right here. The press and seal. I just by accident picked up the one with the stars all over it. Oh, okay. It might wobble a little bit, but yeah, the freezing part, I'm not too sure. Okay, so let me go over the supplies, and I will post a picture of all of them tomorrow. And this is the stuff that you're gonna need for the drips, because that's what we're gonna be doing. So tomorrow I have, you can use any brown. It doesn't necessarily specifically have to be this, or you can use if you have like an ink or whatever you'd prefer to use. So this is what I'm using tomorrow, and that's what I used for that cup as well. And it is melted chocolate. That's the color of it. And then we're going to be adding, this was an add-on, I didn't put it on there. So I added to this one, I added some chocolate mica powder, and it just adds like a little shimmer in there. And I'm going to mix that in with the acrylic and the epoxy. And then today we're going to be using this super cute penny loafer glitter. It's the perfect like little toasted color for the bottom. And then, so the picture, the decal, some people were asking. So this, I used a couple of different clips on the Cricut, and I put them together. And I cleaned up the picture so that way you guys could actually use the picture that I put on there. If you would like, you're more than welcome to use it. So the chocolate mica I got on Amazon. I got a variety pack, I think like a week or two ago. It's these right here. And I think it was $20, and it came with 52 colors, I believe. And it was, I got it on Prime, so obviously it was super quick. I think I got it the next day. Good morning, everybody. Well, hopefully it's not freezing for everybody. I've never had people say they're freezing before, and quite a few people have said it. Alright, so I have this stuff all mixed up. Does anybody have any questions so far? I just want to make sure I'm not missing stuff. Sometimes I go too fast and I forget to mention things. Okay, so I'm going to let my epoxy sit for a minute, and I'm actually going to apply some of this shimmer. And like I said, this was not in the photo I had posted, but I thought it looked really, really cute on here when I put it on, so I'm going to add some. Alright, so I'm just going to put it on my paper. I got this at Target quite a while ago, and it wasn't too bad. I think it was $2 or $3. So I'm just going to turn this on because I'm just going to put it kind of on sporadically. And I just take like a cotton round and kind of bunch it up so that way it's not flat. And I'm just going to dip it. You guys probably can't see, but I just dumped it on the paper just a little bit. And I'm going to kind of put it on the cotton and then just put it on the paper and dab it so that way it's kind of... And then I'm just going to kind of sporadically add it all over. You're welcome, Christiana. It's fun to make things, and I know sometimes it's hard to be able to get the stuff in order to do it, so I love helping if I can. So this doesn't have to be anything, and you don't want to put it on super thick because then your decal might not lay flat. Oh, awesome. Michael's has it too. Yeah, they have that metallic shimmer paint pretty much in tons of places. The color I used is egg, so it's not quite white. It's kind of like a little bit of an off-white. And this stuff dries really fast, acrylic does, so I'm not really going to worry about having to let it dry before I apply my decal to it. Abby, I think she was talking about Target, right? Were you talking about Target? Alright, so I'm almost done with this. I'm going to do the bottom a little bit too, just so that way when we put the glitter down, if you see it at all, because I'm not going to cover it 100% in glitter at the bottom of it. You're going to kind of see through it, so just that way it's not naked on the bottom. And so when I do my lives for you guys, I'm not sure how many people you guys are just joining me for the first time on here. I save them with a hashtag. So when I put the stuff that we're going to need for tomorrow, I'll add the hashtag to it. That way you guys can find this whenever you want and replay it if you would like to. So I think that's pretty much good. So can you guys see how it just kind of added a little bit of shimmer to it? Kelly, so I'm just adding a little bit of this to it. It's like it's called shimmer. It's acrylic paint. It's the color, it's egg. Alright, so I'm going to give that just a second to dry. And then that's when we will be adding our cute little face to it. So if you use the one that I put on there, this is a 10-ounce cup. And I cut this, when I sized it, I cut it at 2.7 is what I sized it to for the 10-ounce cups. And that's what I used for this one as well. Just if you guys aren't quite sure what size to use. Alright, Amy, did I miss anything so far? I think I covered everything so far. I'm just making sure that this is kind of pushed down really good. Because if you do decide to try this, like I said, it does work awesome if you're worried about peeling up your background paints that you put on. But it is, sometimes it can be a little bit, I noticed it could be a little bit trickier separating it. So I just use my little weeding tool if it won't come up, and I just kind of put it underneath there a tiny bit. Alright, so let me turn this guy off because I don't need it on anymore. And so when I put this on, you can always put it on after too if you're kind of worried about where your drips are going to fall. I put that one on this morning because that was my first time doing it, and I was worried that the drips may come down further than I anticipated and that it may cover up the face. But that wasn't the case. The drips, when I let it sit, actually really didn't move much at all. They just kind of smoothed out, so they're not all lumpy looking. I got these from a buy-in a long time ago. They have similar 10-ounce ones at Walmart. I looked them up on the website to make sure. That way I could tell you guys. It looks like they're like $5.75 for them. Alright, so let me find a nice little spot to put this guy. And then after we put this on, that's when we'll do, I'll put the whole epoxy over the whole thing and we'll do a little ombre. Alright. I have a big piece of foot stuck to it. No, Sam, you didn't miss too much. I was just explaining some things, and I'll go over them again after. Alright, so I'm just going to take this little guy, and I don't want it to the top very much. I want to kind of put it more almost in the middle, because if you think you're going to have your chocolate drips up here, so you're going to have some room getting taken up there. So let me just stand up so I can make sure I have this nice and centered. And then see, I didn't take up any of the acrylic that I just put down. And it stuck there nice. You may want to wait a little bit longer, but I wanted to be able to show you guys. Yeah, so that's the same exact face. In the end, hopefully this one should come out looking very similar to that one. Alright, so let me just make sure this guy's stuck down pretty good. So when I apply the glitter, I'm going to use my fingers because I don't want it heavy on there. And I think if I use anything else besides my fingers to sprinkle it on, it's going to come way too heavy, because I just want to kind of give it like a cute little toasted marshmallow look, not necessarily like really dense ombre where it's going to cover everything. Alright, so, and I'm going to do the epoxy method like I said on this. So I'm going to put it on super, super thin. For you guys that haven't done it, it's, so think of it like an adhesive. You're not necessarily wanting to put it really thick like a coverage coat. So you just want it, you don't want it to shift. So you literally just want to like drag it. And then my extra epoxy right here, I have a little mold set up. Usually I have like another cup to do or something, but I didn't today, so there's no way that I'm going to use all this. So we're just going to go with that. I have a little pencil mold that I took out that I'm going to do. I'll stay on and do that with you guys to make sure that everybody's questions are answered too. Yeah, I've been dying to do a drip cup. And I had seen somebody posted this like ridiculously cute little marshmallow cup, like the toasted ones. And so the first thing that popped in my head were these cups, because I've had them for a while and I didn't know what to do with them, but they were adorable and I knew I would use them for something sooner or later. So we will be doing this with them. So I'm not going to worry. I'm not really, honestly, probably going to go up all the way because I really don't need to. I'll probably go up just up to here and the bottom of it. Because like I said, I'm using it just as an adhesive, not like a coating. Because we're going to put, there's going to be a coat or two of epoxy that's going to actually go over the chocolate too. Oh, thanks, Mariana. So I have 1 ounce dispensers, so I use the ½ ounce for this, but you definitely don't need it for that. Oh goodness, you literally, it's like minute how much you need. I don't even know if you could accurately pour the little bit you need to actually do the epoxy method for this, because it's so minimal. Yes, we were, Amy. But see how once the epoxy's on there, how it makes that shimmer paint like wicked adorable on there. Just kind of adds a little bit of dimension to it. Okay, so I think I have this really thin all the way around. I just want to make sure it wasn't thick anywhere. Alright, so let me grab a piece of paper really quick. Give me 1 second. I grabbed one for my glitter and then I ended up dumping my paint on it, so sorry about that. And even the glitter for this, you use a minuscule amount because literally I'm just going to be dusting it on with my finger. And then, see, I have a ridiculous amount of epoxy left. But I like molds. I have a little mold obsession over here, in case you can't tell. I have a little stockpile. So I don't mind. So, I'm just going to take a little teeny tiny bit of this. Like teeny tiny. And just dust it on the bottom. And that way you can kind of gauge how fast it's coming out of your fingers and you can move up a little bit because you want it lighter on the top than the bottom, like a little ombre. I just used a cheap little cotton round that I kind of balled up But you can use, I must have put them away. I have those little round sponges. You can really use anything to apply it. If you just kind of crinkle it up so it's not flat. So now that I have it kind of lighter on the top, now that it's kind of the way I want it to look now, I'll kind of move down a little bit and go towards the bottom. Yep, sponges will work fantastic for it too. Might actually be easier. That's just what I had on hand. Sometimes you gotta improvise. Then I think I might add just a little bit more towards like the bottom. And then, so give me just a minute to finish this part too, and I'll start to go over the stuff for the next part of the live, because if you're going to be following along with it, you're definitely going to want to mix your epoxy and all that quite a while before the actual live itself. So I'm probably going to do the event for about 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. That way everybody kind of, if you'd like to follow, has time to get all their goodies together and stuff. And it's Saturday. I don't like getting up early on Saturday. Okay, so, and then for the bottom part to cover it, I just use my finger because it's such a little bit, and literally just kind of flick it on there, because you just want a little dusting on there. And for this particular one, I don't have any epoxy up there, and it's to kind of, like I said, give it a cute little sparkle like it's toasted. So it's totally fine if it doesn't necessarily stay 100% in that spot. Sorry, my phone rang. I hope I didn't lose you guys. Everybody still there, right? Okay, I think we're about good. So this is the color. It's Penny Loafer is the color that I used. It's like a really pretty golden brown, kind of. Alright, so I'm done with the glitter part. You can add as much or as little as you like. And then I just have this little tiny bit left on my paper. So let me get that out of the way. And then I think that part is all done. So I'll let this sit, and I think tonight when I come home, I may put a thin coat of epoxy on this. That way the face is protected and all that. And then the glitter will smooth out a little bit. But I'm not worried about getting it super smooth, because there'll be at least one more, probably only one more coat that's going to go on top of that. Thanks, Caroline. I did that in another tutorial as well on this page last week. Okay, so starting to go over the epoxy. So I used the same amount for the one that I just did. So I used, like I said, I have a 1 ounce dispenser, and I used a half a pump. So it's a half ounce. So the face, if you look in the files under the event, you can use, that's a face that I put together for this, so you can definitely use that. And if you're having any problems trying to figure it out, you can PM somebody and we can help you get it on there for you. Okay, so like I said, tomorrow we will have our half ounce of epoxy, and I mixed my epoxy and I let it sit for 20 minutes before I mixed the acrylic and the mica in. So And some people do it right at the beginning. I waited 20 minutes. I mean, I guess it's personal preference. So mix them both in there, check it, because the biggest thing with these drip cups is everybody's epoxy sets up at different rates, and depending on your temperature and all of that stuff. So if you're going to be following along this part, you may want to do like a little demo cup, or if you have some spare epoxy later today, if you're doing a cup or something like that. That way, and you can mix your acrylic in there. That way you can kind of see how long it needs to sit for. Because ideally, when you apply it on there, you want it to be almost like, I don't know if you guys ever had like Mary Jane candies. They're like super thick, like caramel. That's what you want it to be, like super goopy and drippy. Not drippy, I'm sorry, like just like goopy and stringy. I use FX Premium, so it sets up really fast, and I still had to let it sit a total of, it sat for an hour and a half before I actually started applying everything. So tomorrow when I come on, I'm obviously going to start my epoxy earlier than when I go on. That way it's thick for when we start to do the drips. I used the popsicle stick last night for the drips. I think tomorrow I might try this because it might make it really easy to kind of get the whole drippy thing going on the top. No, the face is on, it's just regular vinyl, but I used cling wrap just to transfer it, so it didn't possibly pull up the acrylic right there. Sometimes when you mix acrylic in your paint, acrylic in your epoxy, it kind of makes it changes the components in it, and it makes it kind of set up at different rates of speed. I've seen, like I said, some people do the drip ones and they mix it in there right away. So if you mix too much in there, it's going to get all stringy and really funky and weird. But you do want it to get thick. I'm sorry, I was trying to read the comments. Give me one sec. I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. So I'll show you guys tomorrow how thick it needs to be. But you want it so it's like thick. Like super thick. Because when you put it on, it's gonna look pretty crazy. It's gonna be kind of glumpy. Alright, maybe you're right, Whitney. Maybe I won't try that. That's a good idea because it will be super thick. And I don't want to ruin that. So I'll just stick with the popsicle stick because it worked. What are you talking about Elmer's glue for? Work for what? Alright, so I have this little pencil mold that I've had for a while too. I'm going to do that. Does anybody have any more questions about this right here? And if you are catching it after, or you have any questions that pop up, definitely you can put it in the thread or ask anybody on the page or myself. Definitely, because I can definitely answer your questions if you have any. Let me see. So this one I'm going to be painting some Micas in. And then I'm just going to pour the epoxy into it after. The base color, I used a matte white, and then I used this egg shimmer in there. Yes. Under there is just a matte white paint. And then I just sponged it on. Oh, so I also have, I don't know if you guys want to see them or not. I was going to pop those molds too, so you guys can see them. Do you guys want to see them? Can you see? Okay, so let me, maybe you guys can see. Can you see better right there? Yeah, you can see better right there. Okay, so I'm just taking this right here and I'm just putting a little bit of mica on it. That way I can kind of put a design on it because it's the pencil one. And I don't know how else you would get a design on it. And I usually do this for some of my other molds too. So I'll just paint the colors I want on them and like a little design. And then I'm going to mix a little bit of Opal Mist glitter into the epoxy before I dump it in. And this doesn't take long at all. I'm just putting some mica in it, so that way it has a little design on it after I dump the epoxy into it. And then, so I have yellow I'm using for that one. And then this is beer. I'm going to use that for like the wood part. And this is really quick too. This doesn't take long. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Yeah, you can see good, right? So I'm just kind of painting it in there. You don't need a lot at all. You just want a little tiny bit on there. And just make sure if you're going to do this that you kind of get the walls of the mold too. It's both. It's a shimmer eggshell. See? So it's just like a little bit of off-white. And then I have this magenta. I'm going to use it for the eraser. I wanted to put like a little bit of a pop on top. So I think this would be the perfect color for it. And like I said, you just kind of paint it in there. It's really easy. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. And then I'll just add a little bit of, I have this gray. So I'm going to put a little bit of, for the mold I'm going to put the Opal Mist right into the epoxy and then literally just dump it in my mold. And then it'll be done. So this is the silver. I mean, it's silver. It says gray, but it's really silver. Sorry, I had a couple things to do today, so I figured you guys might want to hang out for a couple minutes. Yes, I don't want that epoxy to set up too long, and I have the geode molds right next to me. I'm dying to pop those. So let me just put this little bit of black in there. Holy cow. I got changed in my work clothes, and I'm like covered in mica right now. Holy cow. Maybe that was a bad idea. And then, so I'm just going to put a little bit of black for the pencil part, the little lid. And then I'll dump it in and I'll show you guys those cool geode molds. And then, so this is the Opal Mist. It's wicked, wicked pretty. And it's perfect if you want to add a little bit of shimmer to something. So I'll just stick a little bit of there and I'll dump it in there. And we will see how it comes out when I go. Yes, I did that one. This is going to be, this is part of a 2-part live I'm doing. I didn't do this one during the live. That was a couple I did last night, just to make sure I was giving you guys the right directions today. Alright, so let me pour this in here. And the mica, if you put it thin enough, it doesn't really move to where you have to worry about like the whole thing I just painted on there smearing. I just want to do like a thin coat with the mica on there. And it looks like it's like literally the perfect amount for it, which is extra sweet. Thank you. The gold part was the only thing that wasn't in the live that I did. It was kind of a last minute ad. I used, where are they? Oh, okay, so in gold, this is the silver one, but I used this oil paint pen. These right here. So this is the same one, except it was in gold. And I just epoxied it after I did the inks, and then I lightly sanded it. So it was pretty smooth, because you definitely don't want to use those pens if it's not smooth, because they'll show all the blemishes. Alright, so let me just spray this mold with a little bit of alcohol. And then I will pop those geode molds I've been dying to pop out. Okay, so here we go. So these little beauties, these are, I did this last night while I was waiting for this chocolate to get thick. So this is with Alumilite epoxy, because I have a ton that I don't use, so I was trying to use it up, and it takes a lot longer to set than this stuff does. So I can totally take these out. They're just not super hard. No, I didn't have any issues with it repelling or turning funny colors or anything. I sprayed it with alcohol to pop the little bubbles. So these later, I will probably use that silver oil pen and go around the edges with them. And then put a little bit more epoxy on. I just knocked something over. Ooh, these are gorgeous. Look at that. See how pretty? Yeah, I definitely think I might add a little bit of silver on the lines and stuff in there too. Alright, there's one. I'm definitely going to have to make some more of these. I was so excited to get this in the mail the other day. All my good stuff seems to come when I'm like on my way to work and I don't get to play with it. So I stay up too late when I get home playing with them. And there's another one. And so I used, on these I used, this is Oasis, and this is Say It Ain't Snow, and then this is Breakfast at Tiffany's. And then these are micas that I used right here, and that little bit right there. Alright. And there's another one. Then I got one more. So how many of you guys, are a lot of you going to be trying to follow along with the drip cup tomorrow? I hope so. They're so stinking cute. I think I might make like all the ones that I got. And you can even, instead of putting the faces, I've seen a lot of really cute ones where people, see, there's the last one right there. You can put a lot of cute stuff on there, like Let's Get Toasted and all sorts of like super cute stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to have the face on it. And then this is the coaster that I made, because I poured a little bit too much. I'm a chronic overpour. Alright. And then this is the pretty coaster from the leftovers that I used. Alright, so I think did everything that I was going to share. So like I said, I will post this. I definitely wanted to do, this didn't take very long to do today, but I definitely wanted to discuss with you guys, because that is a super important step in order, if you're going to follow along, to get everything ready ahead of time. Because literally, like I said, my epoxy sets fast and I still had to wait an hour and a half in order to actually apply it. So, thanks for watching, and I guess I will catch you guys tomorrow, hopefully. So keep an eye out in the events for all the pictures of other things you might need. I'll put all the micas. Like I said, the mica is totally optional. You don't have to add it. You could really do it however you want. I just thought it made a pretty little shine on it. And I will put, so I'll put the necessities, and then I'll put like the little optional things if you want to add. That way you kind of know what you need versus what you might want. And then I guess hopefully I will catch y'all tomorrow. Have a good one.